a quick design on my CAD, and let's start doing the project. From a job that we done at work, I've got some leftover marine plywood, and I decided to create a new project with that. It's a very difficult wood to work with. It cracks easy and it splits easy, but it looks nice. So I'm trying to do a wave, like you wave, or like a basket, and let's see how it works, step by step, like always, and let's have some fun. At the bottom is also a piece of plywood that I created a recess before that. I marked it round on the plywood, and now I'm going to cut it. I turn it around a day later when the wood glue glued properly and dried properly, and now I'm going to have a circle of this plywood. After I squared it down a little bit, I'm going to put a plastic around it. It's going to be my vessel, because I'm going to put resin inside, and I'm going to use the same technique that I used in my previous project. I'm first going to use a vacuum chamber. Lucky enough, I'm using Art Expression resin from South Africa, and it gives me about an hour and a half of working time, so I can do also vacuum. I'm pushing it in vacuum, and I'm pulling it in vacuum, all the bubbles, and now when I release the pressure, I release the vacuum, I'm getting the atmospheric pressure that pushes back all the resin into the places it used to be air bubbles before. It used to be void with air, and I'm going to do it 2 or 3 times till I'm getting to an area where there is less bubbles and it doesn't sink into the wood anymore. And after all of that, I'm going to put it still into a pressure pot, and I'm going to leave it overnight. The new carbide tips, so it works much easier and it doesn't split the wood. And I'm going to square it, but on the end where it's the plywood, the backing of the plywood, I'm going to leave it a little bit longer, and you will see just now why. That's a part of the design. Here it is. I'm just going to cut a little bit more in and leave a little bit of the plywood to be like a stopper in the back. I measured the exact size of the ring that I've got, and now I'm taking another piece of wood. I think it's Maranti, but I'm not so sure. And I marked it on one side and I marked it on the other side. Now I made a recess, and what you see now is it's sitting already on the recess that I made. And now I'm going to mark the size of the basket. I'm going to create a ring, and I'm going to mark it. And I'm using the black line parting tool, and I'm going to part it. And what I've got is I created a ring that I'm going to put above the plywood and the resin, above the basket. setting epoxy, but I'm going to leave it overnight anyway. I'm doing now a recess for the next stage of this project. It's easier to work it this way. Then it will be fully clean center. So I'm doing a nice, not too deep recess, and then I'll start to machine it. By the way, I turned the direction, and I'm going to put a little bit of an angle on the recess so it will hold better. And now I'm going to do the shape. It's going to be like a plate. I'm going to do the shape of the plate, and then I'm going to cut the size of the rim the way I want it. I want it to be a little bit thinner and narrower than it is at the moment. Even now, with when I've got a backing of another piece of wood in the back, you can still see slightly comes out the pattern of the design that I was planning. You will see some places are darker, some places are lighter. You can't see it, but you can feel it when you work it. Is that some places the wood, the resin sipped better and impregnated better into the wood than other places. (180 to 600) Yorkshire grid, and after that Aubichon juice. On this one project, my wife asked me, "Why are you using this type of wood if it gives you so much trouble?" I said, "It's this plywood. It's worthless wood. You know, if it's not going to, if I won't put it here in the project, it will go probably into the dustbin. But it gives you the effect like material and like weaving. So that's why I decided to use plywood, marine plywood. I say marine plywood because a little bit thicker and a little bit stronger." Removing the backing plywood, man, it makes a lot of dust. It's splits and it flies and it's dusty and I have to be very careful with it. And I had to clean all the time the lens of the camera because it got full with dust. So it was a hell of a mission. On the end of the plate, it's quite starting to vibrate because it's quite thin. So I'm holding with my finger the back of it. It's the place it's been polished already and it's clean. And because I'm using also carbide, it doesn't hook into that, so it's quite safe. And it's holding the back of it so it does not vibrate, and it will be equal. I'll cut off equal on both sides. All the green marking is just for me to find out what is a little bit thicker, and I can remove it, and it will be the same thickness all over. Like I said, Yorkshire grid. I didn't show you how I sandpaper it, but you know how I do it. So I added the light in behind so I can see if I need to go again and sandpaper it, or the polish. It's enough, and I think you'll see just now that it's enough. And now I'm putting the last coat of Yorkshire grit, of Obi Shine Juice, and you'll see how it pops up, like it's unbelievable. So the reason I put the light is so I can see if there is scratches or anything like that. In the end, there is a short video that it will show you how exactly it looks, and I really hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to put comments, thumbs up, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you very much.